It's getting colder. Yes, it is. It is December. Man, oh man, we got so much snow over the weekend. Getting more snow. It's dropping. The temperatures are dropping. But that only means one thing. It means this: playoff football is almost here. It's week 15 of the NFL. Let's roll the intro. It's our NFL episode coming up next here on Inside the Zone with Mateo. That is right, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Zone with Mateo. I'm your host, Mateo, as always. And as always, every Thursday during the NFL season, and maybe we'll start doing it through the off season as well, it's your weekly NFL episode here on Inside the Zone with Mateo, where we do three things each and every week. And with that, we go to Mateo's show batting order, which is this. We go every NFL episode, we say, what do we learn from last week of the NFL? I have about five things. Then I hold myself accountable from the picks I made last week. That should say week 13. It's week 14, whatever. No. I am right. And then we'll make my week 15 picks. That's what I did wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I'll make my week 15 picks. And then I will do my week 15 power rankings, which is y'all's favorite segment of the day. We leave it for last. Hopefully, this is a great episode. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. I'm kind of going crazy on school right now. We got basically semester exams, end of the year exams working on, and it's just crunch time. It's clutch time. So, but I'll still bring that energy, but it might be a little shorter today, which hey, maybe you guys will end up liking a little bit anyway. So, without further ado, we go to what the heck I learned from week 14 of the NFL. Another reminder, I'm keeping it a little more simple this week, but like always, they're in the last couple weeks of the NFL season. We kind of started this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. For one of the things I learned this week will always be kind of like a playoff picture update. So this is the playoff picture update, and this is how we do it if you guys are new to it. So this was last week's. This was last week's slide for this segment. And there's three categories. It's almost 100% sure that these teams will make the playoffs with their records going into the week. Still in the hunt is anybody else but these teams that I eliminate. So the teams I eliminate are different than how the league eliminates. The league eliminates teams mathematically, right? Those are the teams with the strike through, okay? The teams that have 0% chances to make the playoffs mathematically. However, I eliminate teams based off of if I actually think they're going to make the playoffs or not. And those are the teams that are not with the strike through yet. The teams with bolded are teams that are newly eliminated by me. So the Vikings were recently eliminated. But we have not, spoiler alert, we have not added any other teams to the elimination teams yet. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, though. And then the third category are those spots open for me to it's the spots that I still do not know who's going to win that spot. And it's been similar to this for a lot of time, but it varies by week. And just like this, here is this week's slide. Boom. Yep, it's shortened. It got more general because although we didn't eliminate anybody else, the league eliminated everybody but the Vikings on my slide, okay? But things also got chaotic. And now I have no idea who the heck is going to win any single division in the NFL because you have the Eagles losing on a crazy losing streak, the Cowboys, yet they lost. They're only 2 games back, and we'll take a look at their schedule in a couple minutes. So that division was kind of like the locks of all the divisions. But now the Cowboys could come from behind or just make it at least closer. The Bills are only a couple games back of the Patriots. The Chargers are only a couple games back of the Broncos. We know the whole NFC stuff. We know the AFC North mess. So all the division winners are still up for grabs. And me personally, all the wild card spots are still up for grabs with the AFC. However, only one wild card spot is left in the NFC because I still think all three of those NFC West teams will make the playoffs. The Niners, the Rams, the Seahawks. The Rams and Seahawks 10-3. The Niners were the last team to have their bye week last week, so they remain at 9-4. But yeah, the Patriots and Broncos obviously have the best record in the league at 11-2. But yeah, that's kind of your like what I'm thinking. But we will dive in a little bit more of what this all means for your favorite teams. We will go to the standings in a second. But where do we want to start? We want to start off with the playoff races. So let's start in the AFC. The Jets are this next team here, so we're going to completely ignore them. They're eliminated. We're going to talk all the way Bengals and up. This is going to be wild card race for now, and then we will go down to the division as well. Broncos, Patriots, as I said, are locks. Those are like the only locks. We'll talk about division races in a second, but the Chargers, the Bills, and the Texans right now hold all the spots. The Colts have dropped dramatically. It has been devastating. We'll talk a little bit more about them and another thing I learned this week. But now they're out of a playoff spot. The Chiefs, we'll talk about them in a little bit. If you got any hints from the thumbnail and the title of this episode, maybe you have an idea of what I'm talking about with the Chiefs, but they're sitting at 6-7, and so are the Miami Dolphins. A bunch of teams are 6-7, probably making all these middle schoolers very, very happy because of the stupid 6-7 thing. But anyway, and then you got the Bengals sitting at 4-9, still alive, really just because of the division where we will break down. Do they even have a shot? They had a better shot last week. They should have won that game. Again, that's another thing I'm hinting at, another thing I learned this week. Oh my gosh, dude, that Bengals game broke me, bro. So with the Vikings basically being awful, the Bengals, I've always liked Jamar Chase. I've always liked Joe Burrow. So I've been, following them since they came to the league because of Justin Jefferson. Really like those guys. Really like the way they play. They're just stuck on an awful team. And yeah. So that's what I'm with the Bengals, where I'm at with the Bengals. We'll talk about their division because obviously, they would win out and they have to have the Bills and the Texans all lose out. It would just be crazy. They're not going to, if they make the playoffs somehow, it would be with the Steelers or Ravens slipping, or no, they would both have to slip. They are only 3 games back of the Steelers for the division. But so, since I'm talking about the Bengals, let's find this division standings here. Here's exactly, it lays everything out. I feel like the division races are more interesting because then you'll just have I guess this is more interesting because you'll have the wild card races, but we can talk about that later but first, we don't even know who's going to be in the wild card race because we don't know who's going to win the division. So I guess we can just talk about the divisions rather than the wild cards. So as I said, look, Patriots play the Bills this week. Yeah, that's kind of insane. But yeah, the Patriots play the Bills. Bills are only 2 games back now of the Patriots for that division. Do I think the Patriots will still win that division? Yes. But Josh Allen is making a case. He could maybe make things a bit more interesting. And hey, the Dolphins could definitely compete for a wild card spot now. Their schedule is very, very favorable. They're on a 4-game winning streak. But yeah, seeing that the Patriots are on a 10-game win streak, that's insane. So are the Broncos. But then I want to talk about the AFC North last year because that's the wildest thing because I think the winner of that division is going to be under 500. That's how bad that this division is right now, which it's mostly been one of the strongest divisions these last couple of years. But I don't know what's going on this season. But the AFC South, man, have things changed. This one is insanely tight. The Jaguars 9-4 beat the Colts. The Texans beat the Colts 2 weeks ago. They're now 8-5, tied with the Colts, and the Texans have that tiebreaker right now. The Colts will still play a couple of those teams a couple more times, and the Titans are just out of it. But you're at a spot where maybe only one of these teams make the playoffs. Who knows who that might be? You could maybe have 2 of the teams, but I doubt all 3 teams will make the playoffs. Just the way the Bills are playing, just the way the Chargers are playing now. Obviously, I'm still not totally high on Justin Herbert. He didn't look great, but the Eagles didn't look great on Monday Night Football as well. But hey, the record don't lie. if the playoffs would start today, I believe the Chargers would be in the playoffs. So you can't not acknowledge that and say, well, the Colts and Texans will make it in ahead of the Chargers and Bills. But no, that's not the case because obviously the that's not how the playoff picture works. It's based off of record, so you have to acknowledge that 9-4 Chargers team, who I don't even think is that good. Yeah, they're kind of weird. It's very interesting. Another team that's very interesting are the Jaguars. The Jaguars are 9-4, surprisingly. Trevor Lawrence, oh my goodness, like he's starting to become the quarterback we all thought he was going to be. Obviously, he still has his issues, man. He have his issues, but he's looking much better, much better, and he's got some wide receivers. ETN's been going crazy. Their defense is looking pretty good, and hey, they could end up maybe winning this whole division. But yeah, the Texans could make a run also for the division. Their defense probably one of the best defenses in the league. And then the poor Colts with Phillip Rivers. My gosh. I mean, even just because of how narrow the divisions are, that you could have the Chargers winning the division. Like, I don't think any team really right now is that much better than anybody else. On a given week, I feel like we're at the point where anybody could beat anybody on any single week. So, I would not be that is why this is so little, because like I can only trust so many teams right now. I don't trust a lot of teams right now. I trust the Seahawks to make it into the playoffs. I do not trust them to make it out of the first or second round. But I mean, I trust the Niners. The Niners are surprising, though, how good they are with all the injuries. The Rams, I obviously trust. The Broncos, I trust for the most part. And the Patriots, I trust too as well. But it's still a lot of inexperienced players coming into the playoffs. So the playoffs are going to be fire. The playoffs this year are going to be so fire. I'm so excited to see how things shape out. But we're just kind of looking at how things are going to shape out, and we still don't know who's going to be in the playoffs, so we don't know how things will shape out in the playoffs. We can't even make a good guess. But yeah, the last division I will talk about, the last division we haven't talked about yet, are the AFC North. You got the Steelers at 7-6. You got the Baltimore Ravens at 6-7, and then you got the Bengals at 4-9. Obviously, the Browns are 3-10. They should have had that win. They should have had that win against the Titans. Garrett should have broken that single season sack record, but only the Browns could do that kind of thing. But that's why we're not going to talk about them. But we will talk about this division race. The Bengals are 3-1 against the division, which means they're tied with the Steelers for that tiebreaker. They were 1-1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers this season, so that tiebreaker cancels each other out. Then you have the record against the conference, and the Steelers have had much better record. They're 6-3 compared to a 4-5 record with the Bengals. So it seems like they would have that tiebreaker with the Bengals. However, the Steelers, I do not fully trust. I do not fully trust the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do not trust the Baltimore Ravens. I do not trust the Cincinnati Bengals defense or offensive line. This division, for me, is still wide open. Do I think the Bengals will make the playoffs? Heck no. I believe they are out of reach. If they would have won last week, which they very well could have, against the Josh Allen Bills, if that defense could have made a tackle, it was 3rd and 15. I'm already going on a rant, and we're not even talking about the Bengals' point of my 5 things I learned this week. If the Bengals defense could have stopped Josh Allen just 2 or 3 yards less, he ran for 15 yards in the snow after you had an insane sack to seal it. The Bills go risk play. They pass on second down. We're trying to run the clock down, trying to waste time. You get the sack. It's insane. And then Josh Allen does an MVP type of play, but that defense could have. If that I'll talk about it in a second. But man, that Cincinnati Bengals, they would have gone to 5-8. Holy cow, we could have seen the Bengals win the division. Do I still think the Bengals could win the division? I think in order for the Bengals to win, obviously they have to win out, which their schedule is favorable, but the Ravens and Steelers schedule are also kind of favorable. Steelers play the Ravens one more time. In a way, I kind of want the Ravens to win that game now because the Steelers did win that game. So now if everybody can tie with the tiebreaker, then it goes to conference record. And the conference record will determine a lot. But yeah, things will be interesting. I think we could for sure talk about it another episode too if the Bengals win this week. And who are they? Oops, that's a teaser. My bad. Um, this week. Oh yeah, that's right. The Bengals play the Ravens. Holy, and then the Steelers are playing the Dolphins. The Dolphins have been on a roll. The Dolphins for sure can win this. Um, and then the Bengals for sure can beat. I mean, they beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Oh, I take them for sure. Bengals go to 5-9. Ravens go to 6-8. And bro, Steelers go to 7-7. That is best case scenario for the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, there's things like that could happen. Let's go to they don't have week 16 on here. Darn it. I don't know why I didn't have this pull up. Bro, why do we have, bro, sometimes I don't okay. Bro, I sometimes do not get the way the internet works. But yeah, I guess we can talk about that division in a little bit. Like I'll talk about the NFC West as well in a different kind of part of what I learned this week. So we can do that in a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, this AFC playoff picture is insane. And I mean, we could go even farther down into other things, but I'm just gonna keep it shorter today, just because I don't have as much time. But yeah, let me know, guys, your thoughts on the AFC playoff picture, and let's go down to the NFC playoff picture again. The wild card race is tight, but the division races are tight. All of a sudden, the Philadelphia Eagles only have a 2-game lead over the Dallas Cowboys. The Packers have a 1-game lead or like a half-game lead over the Bears and only a 2-game or 1-game lead over the Detroit Lions. Theoretically, if all those teams lose out, if it's even possible, if they play each other, I don't know, and the Vikings still win out, they could theoretically win the division. It would kind of be insane. But that just shows you how tight the division is. Obviously, the Vikings, I do think, will lose this week against the Cowboys and therefore be eliminated. But it shows you the Lions, Bears, Packers are so darn close. Then this NFC South, they're both tied at 7-6. I believe they have 2 games against each other in the remaining 4 weeks. That is going to be insane against the Buccaneers and the Panthers, who, by the way, both lost to the New Orleans Saints, which is hilarious. It is hilarious. And then you got the NFC West. I mean, those have the front runners, I believe, for the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I just broke my pen. But yeah, well, I want to talk about the NFC West in a different part of the show. But the NFC North, man, oh man, the NFC North is going to be insane. Packers play the Bears in 2 more weeks. Lions still have 2 more games against division opponents. One is against the Vikings, and then I think the other one is against the Bears. And then, yeah, if Dallas beats Minnesota, which, hey, they should very well beat Minnesota. The Eagles play the Raiders. They should win, but the way they've been playing, they could lose that game. No, I do think. I mean, the Raiders play decent against the Broncos, and I do think the Broncos are better than the Eagles. So, hey, who knows? Who knows what might happen? What if Geno Smith beats the Eagles? Oh, my gosh. And then it's just a 1 game. But I do think it's going this division is going to come down to the last couple of weeks. So is this division. So is this division. So is this division. All 4 of the NFC divisions are going to come down to probably the last week, I think. AFC West, I think the Broncos will pull away. AFC East, I think you can't count Josh Allen now after that performance against Cincinnati. The AFC North is going to come down unless somebody goes on an insane winning streak. And then so is the AFC South. We are in for such a tight playoff race. I'm just so darn excited. But yeah, that is why it's going to be so hard. Bro, the NFL is so unpredictable this season. But yeah, that's going to be it for the first thing I learned this week. And the second thing I learned this week in the NFL is this. Boom. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why isn't it going? Boom. Oh my gosh. Boom. There we go. The Colts season is over is the second thing I learned this week from the NFL. And yeah, I mentioned it very slightly, very subtle. But Philip Rivers is going to be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts after Daniel Jones went out with a Achilles injury that is a season-ending injury. Philip Rivers has not played an NFL game since 2020. It was a wild card exit with the Indianapolis Colts against the Buffalo Bills. He's 44 years old. He's a grandpa. Actually, a grandpa, not just figuratively. He's like literally a grandpa. And the Colts season, is going to be over. And that is the second thing I learned from Week 14 of the NFL. The third thing I learned from Week 14 of the NFL is this: I think Joe Burrow might want out of Cincinnati. So, Joe Burrow said this in an interview a couple days ago, and it's been getting, very, very interesting remarks and reactions. But he says this, quote, "I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for?" So that's the mindset. I'm just trying to bring the best to the table. So what does this quote exactly mean from one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league? Well, this means basically his priority to playing football is to have fun. And it's not fun if you are on a losing team or a team that just does the exact same thing year after year in a bad way. Year after year, Joe Burrow gets sacked so much because his O-line stinks. He also has no defensive help, so he's forced to almost like average 30 points a game with an O-line that does not give him enough time and a running game that isn't really there. Sure, he has one of the best receivers in the game in Jamar Chase, but we've seen that it's not been enough because there's not an I in team, okay? You can't just have two people carry a team, especially at a professional level. And so we're getting from Joe Burrow is frustrated. And of course, trade rumors are like swirling around social media. And I might do a type of episode like that and saying, like, hey, could the Minnesota Vikings bring Joe Burrow here with Justin Jefferson? Possibly, if that is possible. And, maybe, I don't know who the heck you would send there, but is that possible? Or could, another team that's desperate for quarterback position, maybe the Los Angeles Rams? Think about that. Matthew Stafford's probably going to get hurt. Put Burrow in a big, highly watched, very global, a big city in LA. Maybe, he'll want to go there after Stafford retires. Again, I don't know what a trade package would look like, but for the Bengals, maybe a bunch of picks and an offensive lineman might just be good because, like, you saw what Joe Flacco could do. Joe Flacco was doing pretty darn good. So maybe you take the chance of, like, okay, Joe Burrow's not happy with us, so we get a quarterback that's just about average, a little better than a Joe Flacco, maybe like a Kyler Murray. What if another quarterback swap? I don't know if we see an as good of a quarterback swap like we had with Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow, but like put Kyler Murray a bit of a different player than Joe Burrow, but then you still like give Jamar Chase somebody who will throw him the ball that is pretty, like you can trust him for the most part. But and then you put Joe Burrow on a Cardinals team with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. and that defense looks pretty darn good. Like, I mean, would he want to go in that competitive a division? I don't know, but there's obviously ideas going around, and we could for sure do an episode. So if you guys want to see an episode like that, hey, let me know down in the comments down below. And if you enjoy the content you are seeing, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Trying to grow my channel. If you're listening to this on Spotify, because I keep forgetting to post on Spotify, but I think I will end up putting this one on Spotify. So give us a follow over there as well. Comment, talk about it. I would love to grow my podcast so much. And, I'm trying to get 50 subscribers by the end of the year. So in this month, I'm trying to get 50 subscribers. So if y'all could do it, I would appreciate the heck out of you. Just support me. Just support me. Even if you just watch my shorts and maybe a podcast here and there, I still would like it if you would like to subscribe. So there's my little subscribe rant. But hey, everybody does it. And, it's the only way you're going to really get subscribers. You have to ask. I'm just not like, if you just keep on giving free content without asking people to subscribe, they're going to just keep on watching. But, I just like to say at least once an episode, just trying to grow my channel. Just trying to grow my channel. But we can go back to football here. With the fourth thing that I learned from week 14 of the NFL is this. Boom! The dynasty is finally over. Wave the flags. Sing hallelujah. Because Chiefs Kingdom is no more. The Kansas City Chiefs are 6-7. Doesn't look like they're going to make the playoffs. Travis Kelce is going to retire. And this team is going to be likable yet again. They are no match for some of these teams in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes can now find some maybe more likable players to throw the ball to. Because honestly, who really likes Travis Kelce? Who really likes Rashee Rice? Maybe you can use Xavier Worthy or something. He's kind of likable, even though he's kind of like another Tyreek Hill. But I like Chris Jones too. But the Chiefs don't look like they're gonna be going back-to-back Super Bowl champions again. They're probably just gonna be about a 500 team, probably a little higher because it is Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. But the dynasty is finally over. I'm fine to say it. After they are 6-7, bro, with 4 games remaining in the season. The best they can do is 10 wins, and it looks like they'll be eliminated in the next couple of weeks, which is kind of insane to talk about. Patrick Mahomes is still a heck of a quarterback. You could have arguments that he's one of the best to ever play the position, but I just am rejoicing because it's looking like we ain't gonna have a NFL playoffs with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's just a good day. I'm happy about that. The dynasty is over. I don't like dynasties. Now, hey, I know for sure they could come back. They could come back next season and win the Super Bowl because it's Patrick Mahomes. But we can take at least a mini break of the dynasty. I might be over exaggerating a little bit, but hey, if you are excited about this dynasty ending, or if you're like kind of mad about its ending, obviously it could like happen again. But like, I just like to use the word dynasty because that's what it's felt. It's felt like a mini dynasty these last couple of years with the Chiefs. But if you're happy, if you're sad, let me know down in the comments down below as well. I'd love to get some conversations going through in the comments if you have made it this far. But yeah, that was the fourth thing I learned this week. And now, as I mentioned, I wanted to talk about the NFC West. So the fifth thing I learned from week 14 of the NFL is this. We're good. Are you ready? Is this. The 49ers are winning the NFC West. I said it again. If you have been familiar with my channel, if you've been watching a lot of my NFL, podcasts, my episodes here on the NFL, you know that I have said this for the last couple of weeks. And I stand firm because of this. And, the Daniel Jones injury does help this case a lot. Here are the San Francisco 49ers remaining schedules. They play the Titans, the Colts, the Bears, the Seahawks. Easily now, with Daniel Jones going out. Is this a 4-0 stretch as long as you don't blow it? The Tennessee Titans are awful. They are awful. The schedule gods bless the 49ers with 2 games. You got the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Browns, now the Titans in this 4-week stretch. You can say the Colts are going to be pretty bad with Philip Rivers. I obviously have no idea how he's going to play, but I just think it should be a pretty easy game to predict. I think the Niners should beat the Colts. The Bears could be feisty, but again, I think I trust the 49ers a little bit more than the young Caleb Williams. And then the Seahawks, in a game that matters, I don't trust Sam Darnold, and I think the Seahawks are going to lose that game. 49ers, by the way, that's at home too. 3 of the last 4 games are at home. Yeah, the 49ers, oh my goodness, I think they're going to win the division. So, but you say, hold on. They're not even in the lead for the division right now. If they win out, how many games do they win? They win 13 games if they win out. Right now, here are the standings for y'all. Thank you. The Rams and Seahawks are 10-3. They play each other this week. Next week. The Rams against the Lions this week, and then the Seahawks the following. Then you got the Falcons and the Cardinals. Cardinals and the Falcons, those should be easy wins. Okay? So that's a 12 win. The Rams and the Seahawks are going to be a very crucial game for every single team in the AFC West. You realize it is a Thursday night game, 7:15 p.m. Do we know what Sam Darnold does? Just against the Rams. We saw what happened last year in the playoffs against the Rams. But in games that matter on prime time, he sells. He shows his true self. Until I see a game that truly matters, could be this week. Not really this week. They play the Colts this week, which is, they probably will win this game, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe Phillip Rivers can win. They got 2 games, in my opinion, down the stretch against the 49ers and the Rams. Those are huge games. One of them is at least, prime time. The Colts game, it's one of America's games of the week. People are still watching. It's the afternoon slate. There's less games in the afternoon. Here's the afternoon slate. You got the Broncos and the Packers, which is probably everybody's going to watch that. Everybody's going to be watching the Lions and the Rams. But other than that, no one's going to watch the Saints game, really. No one's going to really watch the Niners game because it's against the Titans. People are going to watch, especially now that Phillip Rivers is in the game. They're going to want to watch Phillip Rivers, so there's going to be more people watching. This is a perfect opportunity against a pretty darn good Colts defense. I'm not just riding the Colts season off just because Daniel Jones went out. I would be a fool to say that because I've been saying all season long of how much I like the Colts. All I'm saying is they probably, I'm guessing they're not going to make the playoffs. But they for sure could beat the Seahawks. Because Sam Darnold, I do not trust Sam Darnold. Until I see in a game that matters. I count this week as a game that matters. I count next week in a game that matters. Heck, the Panthers are playing pretty darn well. So that's a game that matters. And then the Niners. 4 games that matter down the stretch. Here in December and the beginning of January. And I guarantee the Seahawks go 2-2 or less. Meaning, they would end the season with 12 wins, which if the Niners win out, and I'm pretty sure they will, you don't have to worry about the Seahawks. It is the Rams that you have to worry about. The Rams, I think, are a very interesting team. You could lose to the Panthers one week and then crush the Cardinals, who've been at least putting a fight against every other team. Split the season series against the 49ers. So that tiebreaker doesn't go into anything. So you have to look at the conference record. The San Francisco 49ers are 8-2 against the conference. So really, you're only half a game up of the 49ers. The Rams probably beat the Cardinals, probably beat the Falcons, right? That sets them up at 12 wins. If they win one more game and end up, tied with the Niners still win. The Lions need this win. The Lions coming off of a game in which they were, not totally favorites against the Cowboys. have an insane chance to win against another playoff contending team. Go to 9-5. Who knows what the Packers and Falcons are going to Packers and Bears will do this week. Could end up first place of the NFC North next time we're talking in our next NFL episode. You know they're going to play hard. The games since that trade of Stafford and Goff against these two teams have always come down to the last possession. They've been absolutely amazing. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not hurt. Sure, they don't have Sam Laporta. They have Jahmyr Gibbs. They have David Montgomery. They have Jamison Williams. That defense is pretty darn good. If they can lock up Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams has not been having the best year. Matthew Stafford is having a pretty darn good year. But you have the pass rush and Aiden Hutchinson. I really like the Detroit Lions. And I really do believe that they could beat the Rams this week. Especially because the Rams lost to the Panthers 2 weeks ago. If that happens, they go to 10-4. 12-4 with those other two wins. 13-4 would be tied with the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers, 8-2 conference record against a Rams conference record of 5-3. Obviously, the wins later on in the season would count as conference records against the division. There's 2 games for the 49ers. So the 49ers probably 10-2 against their conference. 10-2 against their conference is insane. The Rams do have all games against their conference. 7-8 wins against the conference. The Niners still would have more. Rams look like they're going to have the tiebreaker, which means if the Rams lose one game and the 49ers win out, which is very, very, very realistic. The Niners have the tiebreaker. Therefore, the Niners win the division, even if they tie. Even if the 49ers lose a game, and then the Rams lose 2, because they could lose against the Seahawks for sure. Sam Darnold could have an insane game. Most likely not. I think the Niners will win out. The Rams will go 3-1. And the Rams would have to play in the wild card round. Everybody's so high. Everybody's so high on the Rams. And I'm like, hey. Don't forget. Don't count out Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. I don't care if they don't have Nick Bosa. I don't care if they have Fred Warner. Give them some respect. Give them some respect. And you never know. 49ers could be in the Super Bowl. By the way, Super Bowl in San Francisco. By the way, that Super Bowl logo theory that we've been all talking about, all the colors show who's in the Super Bowl. Well, guess what? Guess what? They put rainbow. They put rainbow in the logo this year. So they say, oh, yeah, we're not going to get you on that. Well, guess what? They did it again. The Golden Gate Bridge is in the logo this season. They never do that. Sure, the Super Bowl's in San Francisco, so they can get away with it. But it shows you something. If you believe in that logo theory, which I do, the San Francisco 49ers might be, just might be, this year's Super Bowl favorites, Super Bowl winners, or at least, all I'm saying right now, NFC West winners. Just something to talk about. Just something to think about. And I digress. Those are all 5 things I learned this week from the NFL. And a recap, we looked at the playoff picture. We talked about the Colts season. Talked about Joe Burrow's weird comments. Talking about, I play the game for fun and I'm not having fun. Talked about the Chiefs, how their dynasty may be over. And we talked about the 49ers. Whew. Can the 49ers win the Super Bowl? Maybe. Maybe not. That's going to do it for 5 things we learned this week of the NFL. We're going to go down to our second segment, which is our picks segment, which is divided into 2 parts: our accountability and our picks we make for the upcoming week. So, as a recap, here we go. Time to predict the unpredictable. This season has been so unpredictable. That's why I give it this name, but we're going to have my week 15 picks and a recap of how well I did last week. It was awful last week. It was awful, but our completion percentage ended up going up from 58 to 62%. I don't know how that happened, but we went 6 of 8 last week. 6 and 8 last week, so 6 wins, 8 losses. There were 4 teams yet to have their bye week. They had was the Niners, the Panthers, the Patriots, and the Giants. There are no more bye weeks though, so we'll have 16 games to predict the last 4 weeks of the season. Our overall record is 129 and 78. So that is 129 and 207. So if you guys want to just fact check, like, oh, are you actually, doing this calculations right? Well, this is what you do. 207 games we have predicted so far. 129 of them are right. You do 207 divided by 1. No, you do 1 divided by 207. My goodness, it's a long day. That gives you 1% of that. Then you do times how many correct was 129. That gives you 62. That gives you 0.623. 62% completion percentage. That's how you do it. There's your little math fact of the day. If you guys didn't know how to calculate percentage, which I really hope you guys know how to calculate percentages. Why I say we went 14-2 in week 1 is because I had forgotten to update this NFLPerry.com where the picks lock after all the games start. So I forgot to put in week 1, but I do have it saved on video that I made those picks on my episode. So this one says I'm 115 and 76. Well, you actually add 14 and 2 to that. That gives you that full number of 129 and 78. Just in case you wanted to know. But yeah, as I said, we got 16 games to predict. Let's get into it. Here, I kind of showed you this a second ago, but here's a recap of how I did last week. It wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. I thought the Vikings were gonna lose, but hey, that was wrong. And yeah. Anyway, yeah. So without further ado, let's get to our week 15 picks. Feel free to let me know who you guys are picking in the comments down below. Starting off Thursday Night Football tonight. Ooh, we got a good game tonight. Because, this is probably a bad matchup, but my goodness, if the Buccaneers lose, my goodness, this could be crazy. I don't know why. I'm talking really upbeat today, boys. It's been an insane day. I've been doing school for like 6-7 hours. Yes, I said it because I'm just like draining in school, bro. 6-7 hours. Sports kind of giving me distracted about some couple things. So, hey, we got this. I'm speaking up louder. Dude, it's also cold. It's really cold here in Minnesota. It's really cold. Anyways, Thursday Night Football. Yeah, bro, if the Buccaneers lose this game, the Panthers are winning the division. Give me the Buccaneers tonight in Thursday Night Football, especially at home. But my gosh, if they fall to 7-7, look at who the Panthers are playing this week. They're playing the Saints. Saints have been a hard opponent. Not this time. The Panthers, I think, are going to be winning that division. But given that, I still think they're both going to win. I think the games against each other in the next couple of weeks are going to be insane. For this. I think the winner, whoever wins both of those games, I think, if they split, what the heck? Wow, there's police sirens going crazy right now. Wow, that was insane. Wow, that was loud. I think it went right by my house. But I think there was like 2 of them maybe. My goodness. Wow. Anyway, but yeah, I think the Panthers and Buccaneers both have games against each other these next couple weeks. I think they had both. I don't think they played each other yet. So whoever really wins those 2 games, I think, going to win the division. Man, if they split those games, tiebreakers. Have fun with that. Sunday early slate. The Bears, yeah, you better beat the Browns. If you don't, you're frauds. Bengals, I already said this. I think they're going to be, you beat the Ravens in Baltimore. You beat them again. You're on your home turf. Joe Burrow keeps their playoff hopes alive just slightly more and basically crushes the Ravens' playoff chances. Yep. Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. A lot of people have been picking Kansas City, but as I said, the dynasty's over. The dynasty's over. The Chargers are going to do something only one other team has done. That was the Cowboys. The Cowboys beat the two teams in the Super Bowl in the last Super Bowl in back-to-back weeks. That's what the LA Chargers are going to do. They're going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I was about to say the right thing. I second-guessed myself. No. Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs in back-to-back weeks, just like the Dallas Cowboys did that a couple months ago. I just think Justin Herbert, if you beat the Eagles like that, you got to beat the Chiefs. If you don't beat the Chiefs, you're frauds. I'm not afraid to call people out, okay? I'm not afraid to call people out because this is where it matters. If you lose to a team weaker than you, in my eyes, I know anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday, but in the games that matter, you got to come out. And that's where it sets a lot of teams apart. Where who do I trust more in these clutch moments? If the Chargers can't get it done if they can get it done on Monday Night Football against the Eagles, but can't get it done on a Sunday early slate against the Chiefs, what's going on? Okay. But man, this game is going to be good. This next game, if the Bills win this game, they could still win the division. But Drake, May. They've been calling him like that. Drake, May. Something I don't quite get it. But Drake May might even win MVP this year. He's playing so good. They're coming off a bye. They're rested. Josh Allen, yeah, you're good. I respect you. But Drake May is the new best quarterback in the AFC East. Wow, this game's awful. Marcus Mariota against Jameson Winston? Or maybe Jackson Dart is back in. I don't care. But I don't know who to pick. I legit don't know who to pick. New York Giants injury report. Tell me who's starting. Is Jameson Winston starting, or is Russell Wilson starting? Jackson Dart starting? I think Jackson Dart actually kind of was he done for the year, or is he back? Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterbo, injured reserve. Yeah, no, I guess I pressed the wrong. I wanted depth chart, not. No, Jackson Dart is back. Why am I taking forever on this pick? What am I doing? Okay. Dude, I don't know who to pick. Just give me Marcus Mariota. He's been playing pretty good. Give me Marcus Mariota. I couldn't care if I'm wrong about that anymore. Eagles, if you don't beat the Raiders, I'm going to use this phrase again. You're frauds, okay? Bro, you got to cook. You got to win by 40 points for me to believe in you. If you only win by 10 or 12 points, very concerning. Very concerning. Eagles, come on. This should be probably a gimme for the Jacksonville Jaguars to get 10 wins on the season against the New York Jets. So that's pretty easy. And then, this is an interesting game. Yeah, I feel like the Cardinals against the Texans. The Cardinals are the types of team, they're giving the types of teams like the Texans hard times. I do like the Texans defense a lot and I like CJ Stroud, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just saying, the pressure's off. The Cardinals got eliminated this week, but maybe they come out and surprise everybody and beat the Houston Texans. That could be interesting. But yeah, now we move on to some of the good. Actually, hold on. I'm going to wait for some of the good games. We're going to go San Francisco, as I said, probably wins out. So give me them. And then I said earlier, I talked about the Steelers. I said I would not be surprised if they lose here. The Dolphins have been balling. They've been balling. Devon Achane might be out, but Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, that defense has been okay. I think the Dolphins get it done and go back to 500 after starting completely awful. I really do believe that they could slip into the playoffs somehow. I really do believe their schedule, dude. Have I shown you guys this schedule, bro? NFL teams. We got to go to the Ravens. I don't think I talked about the Dolphins schedule because there's so many teams to talk about. But the Dolphins, my gosh, y'all. Yes, there's again another 6-17, but my gosh, come on, load. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, ESPN, for loading. Look at these last 4 games. We know they play the Bengals, which could be interesting. But Steelers, I think that you beat them. I know you're at home against Cincinnati, but I think I'm going to have Cincinnati. Oh, my gosh. Never mind. They have an insane schedule. Hold on. Wow. Wowzer. Yeah, I'm thinking about Cincinnati, who has the easy schedule. Yeah, I mean, maybe they get to like 8 and 9. Maybe that's what they get to. But for picking right now, I'm picking picking the Dolphins to win against the Steelers. Oh, gosh. My Vikings, Sunday Night Football. Yeah. Did you guys even think I was going to beat them? I'm not picking my Vikings the rest of the season. I made that very clear. I'm okay if I get that wrong because they deserve to lose every single game because I want to get a good draft pick, okay? This is what happens. Minnesota sports teams always go so bad. They get eliminated, and that's when they start winning. Don't do that. Don't do that because it ruins your draft pick. And then we're always stuck at like pick 14. It's the worst draft pick ever. Come on, Vikings. Lose out. Just lose out. Maybe we can get a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy in the draft. I don't think we're drafting a quarterback for eternity, bro. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, I haven't even talked about the Vikings much today because there's not much to talk about. I don't care if they won and JJ McCarthy put up 3 touchdowns. I don't care. That whole team is a joke. I'll have more episodes coming in the offseason about them. Maybe, as we approach the playoff time, maybe Christmas time, like what the Vikings want for Christmas, But I would just keep on rage baiting the Vikings, and I just don't think that's really productive. So, yeah. Anyway, we got 3 left games to predict. My goodness. What games? What games here in the Sunday late slate? My goodness. After church? After church on Sunday? My goodness. We got some good football games on. I wonder how many of these games. I bet I have the Lions game, and I bet I have the Packers game because we're in Minnesota. So if the Packers game is on, other than the Vikings time, we always get them. So I bet, we probably have them and the Lions because they're in our division. Oh, those are gonna be some good games. Packers against the Broncos. That is hard. Holy. Rams. Dude, Rams and the Lions is insane. Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions. I think this is probably one of the only games that the Rams could lose, and I kind of want the Niners to win the division. I do like Brock Purdy a lot too, and Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Shanahan. But I think the Lions will do it. I'm leaving that Packer game is last, bro. I have no idea who to pick there. Phillip Rivers against Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. As long as you need to show me that you can play in an intense game where the world's watching. The world's going to be watching. I don't really know if because they think this game is going to be not because they think this game is going to be a good game, but they want to see Phillip Rivers, which means they're going to have to watch you play football. It's a afternoon game. I don't trust you. I do not trust you. But hey, prove me wrong, and maybe I will pick you next week against the Rams. You got a lot to play for, Sam Darnold, this week, especially in the way I view you. So give me Phillip Rivers. I think Jonathan Taylor might go crazy this week. I don't care if it's against the Seahawks defense. But yeah, I think he might go crazy this week. And that leaves the Green Bay Packers against the Denver Broncos. In my opinion, this could be a very good Super Bowl matchup if it isn't the 49ers in the Super Bowl. But oh my gosh, what a game this is going to be. Both defenses are insane. Both offenses are kind of mid. When you look at it, comparing each position, Jordan Love, Bo Nix, kind of same type of quarterback. The run game, you got RJ Harvey and Josh Jacobs. I'm going to give the hand to Green Bay right there, especially because I need Josh Jacobs to do well for my fantasy playoffs. Then you look at the wide receiver group, you see Christian Watson was balling, but Cortland Sutton can ball if he wants to. And then there's not really other good receivers for the Broncos, but then you got Romeo Doubs and players like that. You do have Evan Ingram on the Broncos side of things, but Tucker Kraft is injured, but you have Musgrave. Overall, the offenses are a little iffy, but you do have a little more stars on the Packers side of things. But the defense both teams are going to be insane. I think it's going to be a defensive battle just because also these offenses don't score a lot of points. I'm thinking like a 17 to 15 type of game, low scoring, maybe a lot of turnovers, maybe like 5 or 6 turnovers. But give me the Green Bay Packers to upset the hometown Denver Broncos. I believe in the Packers. I'm a Vikings fan and I am saying this. I believe in the Green Bay Packers to get the upset here to make the standings even more weird. I don't like to say it, but I believe in them. I'm sorry. If my mic is going crazy right now because I'm shouting. I am shouting. But anyway, give me the Green Bay Packers, everybody. And those are my Week 15 picks. Oh, my goodness. Whew. Wow. That was intense. That was really intense. Those are my Week 15 picks. So without further ado, it's time for our power rankings. It is time for our power rankings. Here we go. Boom. There we go. And basically what I'm going to start doing for my power rankings is it's going to be pretty much like this at all times with the mediocre at best and young but intriguing. Oh, this is not supposed to be young but intriguing. This is supposed to be, oops, my bad. Number 1 pick contention. I really hope I spelled that right. Wow. It's been a long day. But those teams, I just don't really need to talk about much. They're going to stay there. I might shift them around a little bit. A notable thing is the Saints did beat the Buccaneers, so I moved them up a couple spots. But overall, these teams are going to stay in this order, so I'm always going to just continue ranking the teams that I still have in the playoff hunt. On my playoff, picture update of the teams that I don't have listed, okay? So that's who I'm going to be ranking. So I think we got like about 20 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of the 32. So we got 22 teams to power rank here. Starting off with the Miami Dolphins. And like I said, the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion, for sure could sneak into the playoffs. But I think there is so many things that have to go right in order for that to happen. So for that reason, I'm going to put them at just missing the playoffs, okay? Why did I just missing? Wow, I can't spell. Holy. Just missing the playoffs. There we go. Tua, you've been playing pretty good. Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, but again, as we just looked at that schedule, here it is again. You got Pittsburgh, who you probably should beat, but then you have to play Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, and the Patriots, who are all fighting for playoff spots as well. Pittsburgh's fighting for a playoff spot, but I don't know. Hey, but I could be for sure mistaken, and they could go 4-0 and end up 10-7 and for sure sneak into the playoffs, but. Yeah, they were, I think, were they around there last week? They were, just missing the playoffs as well. Okay, cool. We got the Baltimore Ravens, and my goodness, the Baltimore Ravens, that's all I have to say, bro. Like, you blew it. You guys blew it. You guys are now, 6-7 as well? There's so many 6s. Yeah, they're 6-7. I should just basically guess that all these teams are 6-7. You for sure could sneak into the playoffs, but as a division winner for sure, because it's such a tight division. You're gonna be a potential wildcard team just because you could for sure sneak in. And I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna change this to could sneak into the playoffs. There we go. Could sneak in. I feel like that's better than wild card because we kind of got like I feel like that I like that a little bit better. I like that a little bit better. Let me know down in the comments if you like that a little bit better. But yeah, Baltimore Ravens for sure could sneak into the playoffs. And either as a wild card team or a division winner. Same thing here with the Steelers. I feel like they could win the division as well. And since they are in winning the division, they will be ahead of the Baltimore Ravens. But then we got to talk about, that NFC South as well, because it's the same kind of concept where right now the one and only, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the division spot right now, but they're tied. They're tied. It's even more close than this division with the Carolina Panthers, who could also sneak into the playoffs. And in a way, you could put the Bengals there, but I'm going to have the Bengals just missing the playoffs. I think it's too much to overcome just because you lost that game against the Bills. Oh, gosh, bro. Bro, that Bengals game. Oh, my gosh, bro. Like, I was losing it. If you guys know, you know. If you know, you know. If you watched that game, if you heard about it, you know, you know. Go watch the highlights of the last 7 minutes, bro. Oh my gosh. Just go watch it, and you could understand why I feel so sick when I think about that game. Well, we got the Denver Broncos next, and they are one of my four Super Bowl favorites. They're one of my top 3 teams. They're 11-2. So are the the Drake Mays led New England Patriots. So those are my top 2 teams right now. They stay the same from last week. Obviously, if you guys forgot what this other picture is to the right of it, that's my power rankings from the last week, so you can kind of compare. And to be honest, the top 3 stayed the same, so let me just put them there. The LA Rams finish out the top 3, but I will add one more team into my Super Bowl favorites. And, we kind of talked about them a little bit. The San Francisco 49ers. I talked about them a lot already, and so those are kind of the reasons why. But yeah, notice that the Philadelphia Eagles drop out of that category, and they've been like my number 1 team, or at least number 2 team for a while. They dropped to 4 last week. Yeah, they're dropping a little bit. They're not going to be Super Bowl contenders anymore. They're going to just be a playoff team. I do think they'll make the playoffs. I think that roster is too well constructed. That defense is too good not to make the playoffs. But yeah, you have to be realistic, not just because they're 8-5 now. They're 8-5. If any other team was 8-5, take it right now. The Colts, they're 8-5. If they weren't the Eagles, I think they would probably could sneak into the playoffs. That's how low I am on the Eagles right now, because that offense is awful. The only way they could get an explosive run with Saquon was a trick play. Maybe he does have the Madden curse. I don't know. But yeah, it's just a really, really, really unfortunate for the Eagles. And yeah, they're going to drop down all the way to a playoff team, which is absolutely wild to think about. A team that is going to move up, though. They were a potential wildcard team last week. It's the Detroit Lions. They're not going to just move into, the playoff team category. I'm a little bit high on the Lions right now. They're a Super Bowl contender. Not a Super Bowl favorite, but a Super Bowl contender is really close. They're going to round out my top 5. They're going to sneak into the top 5 this week, which is absolutely insane given the way that they've had an up and down roller coaster type of season. But yeah, the only Detroit Lions are in my top 5 as a Super Bowl contender. Ooh, we got a lot of good teams to talk about here. I'm going to talk about the Jaguars next. The Jaguars have been surprisingly very well, and they are going to be a playoff team this year. I think they're going to end up probably winning the division unless the Texans say something about it. So here, let me just give you a spoiler there. I'm going to put the Texans in a playoff team spot as well, because both of these teams are very similar. Driven by one side of the ball. For the Texans, it's the defense. From the Jaguars, it's the offense. They could lose on any given week, but they've been really clicking as of late. And I like what I'm seeing for both of these squads. And I'm just really excited to see them play more and more throughout where we're like in the games that matter down the end of the road, especially a couple key games against the division. Going to be fun to watch for sure. Now let's just get the last team out of that division out of the way, the Indianapolis Colts. Colts were a playoff team last week. I think at the moment, could sneak into the playoffs is very, very realistic for them right now. They're out of the playoff picture right now at 8-5. Here's the playoff picture again. Hold on. If you forgot, why is this loading? Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Here is the, full AFC playoff picture. They're out right now with at the 8th spot with 8-5. They are tied with the Texans. So, if they beat the Texans, if they play the Texans again, I don't quite remember. They could hypothetically move up into a playoff. So I do think they could sneak into the playoffs. But right now, that's a dramatic change because they were my one or two, like the Eagles and the Colts were my top two teams in the league. And now all of a sudden, they have been dropping so much. It's kind of insane. But you got to talk about it. And now if Philip Rivers completely looks awful, I mean, they probably move down to just missing the playoffs next week. But hey, maybe they can beat Sam Darnold. Maybe they can just stay and could sneak into the playoffs next week. Maybe even make it back into the playoff teams, or maybe Super Bowl contender. You never quite know what might happen here in the power rankings because the NFL is indeed unpredictable. So you never quite know who's going to win on any given Sunday. Just like you never know if the Chiefs are fully out. I do think their dynasty is over, but you never know. You never know, and they could for sure beat the Chargers. I mean, I didn't pick them to beat the Chargers, but they for sure could that because they have Patrick Mahomes, but I am going to have them just missing the playoffs ahead of the Bengals and the Dolphins just because I think the road to get into the playoffs, they're not going to win the division, and the road to get into the wild card, they are behind a lot. Given that, I will put the Bengals ahead of them because the Bengals have an easier route to get into the playoffs because of the division rather than this insane wild card. I mean, look, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams ahead of them right now. You got the Dolphins also playing at an elite level. So you got 5 other teams besides you fighting for 3 wildcard spots. 3 of them aren't going to be happy. 3 of them will be. That's just how the playoffs work. But yeah, you say just missing the playoffs, Kansas City Chiefs. It looks like your season is up. We got 6 more teams left to rank here in my power rankings, and then we will finish up the show. Let's talk about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold will be a Super Bowl contender because we have to give that defense some love. And, Sam Darnold has been balling. They're going to be a top 6 team, though. Not a top 5, but just under there just because, you still got to prove a lot to me. And, hey, these next 2 weeks could prove so much. And it could affect your team's rating. A lot of people have them as a top 3 team. For me, I'm going to go top 6 team. That's just my preference on Sam Darnold, especially as a Vikings fan. We know what the heck happened last year. And I just don't. I mean, we even saw earlier this year against a game against the Rams. He threw like a million picks and looked like his normal Sam Darnold self. So I'm saying I need to see more games that matter where more of the world watches. And I mean, this week gives you a perfect opportunity. Philip Rivers, I mean, you should beat this team if you're this good. But, there's something about it that I just don't think they're going to win. And I think Sam Darnold might have a couple picks. I'm going to say that, okay? So it's going to be very interesting to see how he performs this week. I'm also, though, as I said, very high on the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers for sure could be a Super Bowl contender. But I'm just going to have them as a playoff team right now just because you never know. I don't know even if they're going to get out of that division. It could be interesting. I think if they win this week, they beat a top 2 team, they for sure end up going into at least a Super Bowl contender, maybe even a Super Bowl favorite type of team. I know they've been in there a couple times this season. I've just kind of been moving them around because they're an interesting team to figure out. But yeah, that's where the Green Bay Packers are going to go. And then kind of similarly, the Chicago Bears. They lost to the Packers, but they could beat them. They could beat them, in 2 weeks' time. They have, not that easy of a schedule, but they don't have that hard of a schedule also. They do have to play the Niners. But who else do they have to play? They have to play. They're done with the Vikings, I know. What the heck? Where's our schedule? Oh, they're going backwards. What? What is this? What is this? This is from 2020. What is going on? Holy. I just want to see the Bears schedule. My goodness. Okay, so they play the Browns. Yeah. That's right. They play the Browns. So that should be a win. The Packers, it's kind of, very, very up for grabs. Why won't you just pull up the schedule? There we go. Then you play the Niners and then the Lions. Like it's a tough schedule, but I do think you're probably at a playoff level type of team right now. But obviously could miss it because there are so many good teams in the NFC as well. We got 3 teams left. Let me get rid of the final NFC team. We got the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys face a heartbreaking loss to the Detroit Lions last week, and at least the Eagles lost. So now you're still only 2 games back with 4 games left. I feel like they for sure could sneak into the playoffs. I like them a lot. I like them a lot better than a lot of these teams. So yeah, that's where they're going to go in my power rankings, and very very similar with those Chargers. I mean, they're in a playoff spot right now. I think a lot of teams could sneak into the playoffs right now, and I'm going to put the Chargers ahead of all these teams. I like them a lot, but I'm not ready to give them into the playoff team quite yet. They were in this category last week, but I move them up a couple spots, giving them a little more love because, hey, they deserve a little more love. But I'm just going to say we could see another first-round exit by them just because that's kind of like the type of team I'm dealing with. But, hey, if they beat the Chiefs, they go to 10 wins, probably a for sure playoff team this year. But then finally, we got the Buffalo Bills, who were a playoff team last week, and they're going to stay that way. They're going to stay. They're going to, kind of go right there. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm going to put them right outside the top 10 yet again, just because obviously it is the Bengals defense. Like, what are you going to do? The Bengals defense is pretty bad. And actually, I'm going to put them right in the top 10. I'm going to put them right in the top 10. That's what I'm going to do. I like that a little bit better. They deserve a little bit more respect. I probably should give them more respect than I normally do. Kind of same with the Chargers. But yeah, that's where I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills. And those are my Week 15 power rankings. I'll read them off 1 through 32, and then we will end the show. I appreciate everybody watching. At number 1, for the second straight week, maybe even third straight week, we got the New England Patriots. Number 2 are the Denver Broncos. Number 3 are the LA Rams. Number 4 are the San Francisco 49ers. Rounding up the top 5 are the Detroit Lions. Number 6 are the Seahawks. Number 7 are the Eagles. Number 8 are the Packers. Number 9 are the Bears. And rounding out the top 10 are the Buffalo Bills. 11 are the Jaguars. 12 are the Texans. 13 are the Chargers. 14 are the Colts. 15 are the Dallas Cowboys. 16 Steelers. 17 Bucks. 18 Panthers. 19 Ravens. 20 Bengals. 21 Chiefs. I think that might be their lowest rating this season. 22 are the Dolphins. 23, Vikings 24, Cardinals 25, Commanders 26. One of the teams that plays tonight on Thursday Night Football are the Falcons. 28, I think it's 28, are the Giants. 29, Browns. Nope, wait. Hold on. 23, 24, 25. 26, Falcons. 27, Giants. 28, Browns. 29, Saints. 30, Raiders. 31, Titans. And 32 are the New York Jets. Excuse me. Those are my Week 15 power rankings, also compared to my Week 14 power rankings right at the right side of your screen. But yeah, guys, those are my power rankings. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Coming up next week, we got our Week 16 episode and any other episodes that I kind of decide to film. I try to film daily shorts, but it's more like every couple days shorts. I'm trying to release more 2K rebuilds as well. And yeah, feel free to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, suggest any video ideas in the comments, and please interact with me in the comments down below. I would love to get a conversation going in there. But yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening if you're listening on Spotify. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to keep God first. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.